Hello, welcome. This is Tax Madak Solicitors. My name is Justice Madafaro. I'm a solicitor. I'm also a barrister in another jurisdiction. I'm going to discuss driving offenses. You know the topics I bring to you here are emancipating topics, topics that will set you free, and topics that will make life easier for you once you take action. Driving related offenses are very crucial in saving your driving license and for your convenience as well. Why do I say so? Now, there are different types of driving offenses. There are offenses of driving that will lead you to prison, imprisonable offenses, under driving offenses, and there are also the ones that will not lead you to imprisonment but will consume your driving license. So therefore, I am here to save your driving license. This is 2026 and summer is around the corner. Even without the summer, a lot of you are outside drinking. This is crucial for you. Why do I say so? Because driving while unfit through drink, which is the topic of conversation today, can lead you to lose your driving license straight away. A lot of you fall into that category, either unfit to drive or driving with excess alcohol or attempt to drive with excess alcohol. And in that circumstance, some of you give in. And that is why I'm bringing this topic to you today, to show you that Tax Madak Solicitors, we have grinded matters of this nature and have saved our clients a whole lot of inconvenience, have saved their jobs, have saved their economic emancipation, economic well-being, have saved them a lot of stress, distress, by keeping their driving license. Now, the regulation on driving is very strict because it falls under what is called strict liability offenses. Strict liability offenses, which means that you ought to know. Nobody has to know. Only you have to know. Now, you ask yourself, if the police have stopped me and they breathalyzed me on the road and I've reached a certain degree of 35 above, and then they're taking me to the police station, and then they say, breathalyze me again, and they find out that I am also above the limit, and then they charge you. The question now is that, do you plead guilty for that? That is driving above limits. Now, another offense, which is what I'm talking today, is unfit through drink. Unfit to drive through drink. Sometimes the police arrest people on the roadside, breathalyze them. On the first breathalyze on the roadside, they are above the legal limits. In that sense, either 1 or 2 or 3. That means there is a prima facie case of drink driving. Then what next process will be to take the person to the police station to conduct the proper analysis, second breathalyzing analysis at the police station. It is at that point that if the alcohol breath or alcohol in your breath goes down to below 35 or sits at 35, the next question, and the police deems it fit that this fellow is likely above the limit, they go to the next stage. What's the next stage? The next stage is what is called procedural test of unfit to drive or fitness to drive. That is the step some of you fail because you are allowed to drink and drive. That is the law. But the law says you cannot go above the limit. The question is that how will you know your gauge is above or below the limit? Well, you are already allowed to drink and drive, but that means don't overdrink and drive. Question, how do you gauge it to know you're not above or you're not below it? In the event, because the machine will pick up that if you're above it. The machine will pick it up that if you're below it. The next stage is that once you are now within the legal limit, the police take the next step. And that next step is what is called fitness. They have to follow through the procedure. In the magistrate court, these matters have littered the magistrate court. This matter is all in the magistrate court. In the magistrate court, where matters are listed for hearing for driving and traffic offenses, you see out of 50 cases listed for hearing, you see 30 or 35 sit on unfit to drive through drink. Unfit to drive through drink. Why is it so? The police will conduct the fitness procedure. That procedure would kickstart the process of whether to charge that person to court for driving while within the limits, but unfit. So some of you, I heard some of you say, oh, I have a very strong head. I've been drinking, I drive, I'm always within the legal limits. Some of you say that. Some of you pride in that. The question now is that when the police breathalyze you, where will you sit? Even if you are below the legal limits, you have pushed the next procedure open. That second stage, which is my topic of conversation today, is the unfit to drive through drink. Now the test will be conducted. Those tests have procedures in the police station recorded at the police station, whereby each party, the police will observe your activities, give you activities to embark on. At the moment you are embarking on those activities, they're observing through recorded means as well how you are coherently following the procedures. If you are incoherent, and if you are blurred in your visions, if you're blurred in or slurred in your speech in respect to words that were put to you, even though you are below the legal limits, you could be charged. And that is straight up losing your license. If you are in that category, you know someone in that category, you know someone passing through that category, and they want to save their driving license. In this world and age we live, everybody is driving, and you ought to drive. And the condition to drive is your driving license. And you can lose it with a twinkle of an eye. I'll give you an instance. A friend, or a case I dealt with, who is related to me as a friend, he lost his license in one straight driving circumstance. Just one day he lost his driving license. How did I do so? He commenced his journey from point A, going to point B. On that same fateful day, from point A, he encountered a speeding ticket. From speeding ticket, he got to the next position where there was traffic on the road, and because he was heading to his destination, he took out his phone to record. From recording, and the police officer or the traffic warden who was mandating the road or guiding through the traffic spotted him and recorded him that same day. 2 tickets. One from the traffic light, second from the highway officers patrolling the road, managing the traffic. This fellow has taken his phone to record while sitting in his car and moving the car gradually. On his way back, he's finished from his ceremony and he has consumed some alcohol. On that same day, returning back, he was stopped by the police. Same day. And on that day, he was breathalyzed. He fell below it. And the next point was to take him to the police station and to observe the procedures of fit to drive through drink. Now, the police alleged that he failed the test. Now, what did he do? He came straight to task solicitors. He contacted me straight away. And I took up the matter, and at the police station at court, because he was not charged to appear at court. And on that day at court, we requested so many things the police needs to satisfy us with for us to represent our client accordingly. I tell you this, that is why I'm making this conversation today, or discussing this with you today. And in the process, because that offense alone gets his license straight away gone. And what did we do? And by the time I requested a lot of documentations, procedural effects from the police, and the police were able to submit some of those at court. Obviously, we pleaded not guilty, and the police were able to submit that based on court standard directions for the police to submit and provide any evidence that would either not be in their interest or not support their case, and those that support the defendant's case as well. They must disclose that under the criminal procedure rules. Now, having done so, it is very evident by the time before the trial date that they have not met the tests, the procedural tests for unfit to drive through drink. On the trial date, they offered no evidence, and my client was acquitted. Why am I saying this? This is just one of the others. The reason why I enlarged this is because it happened on a day, 3 offenses in one day. which is why that's why I was discussing this matter to you, the fragility of your driving license. You could have the 12 points today, you could lose the 12 points in a twinkle of an eye. And that impacts your job. Some of you relying on driving for your job. Some of you rely on driving to commute to the job. Some of you rely on driving to ferry your family. Obviously, the inconvenience will be enormous if you have no driving. Some of you have children. Some of you have far places to attend. Some of you have vulnerable parents and adults that family members you visit. This all makes life easier for you, and especially your economy. The economy part of it. Social interactions as well is also taken to the back door if you lose your driving license. Tax solicitor will save your driving license, especially as we are embarking towards the summer now. A lot of people are outside. A lot of people are having organizations and meetings and parties and social gatherings and all that. Drink is involved. Alcohol is involved. Whether or not you don't want to drink, some few drink occasionally. On that occasion that you drank, your driving license may be on the table for chops. Tax solicitors will save your driving license. Now, because driving matters that had to do with our fitness to drive, some of them don't really kickstart prisonable offenses other than fines and losing your driving license particularly. And that's the major of my conversation today. There are other driving offenses that will take you straight to prison that I will discuss in subsequent conversation in this program. Those are careless driving, driving with due care and attention, dangerous driving. Those lead you straight to and have imprisonable offenses attached to them. But for this one I'm discussing today, it is much more than imprisonable when you have no driving license and you suddenly stop driving. And as some of you have purchased your vehicle on hire purchase or PCP. Most of you also have bought your vehicles on cash basis. And so your economy is there, also going down. Your finances also affected as a result of your purchase of your vehicle, which you can no longer drive. And some of you go further, even when you are going through this and you've been disqualified, you still go ahead to drive your car, knowing full well you have been disqualified by law. You are tripling the consequences that you will face. You're making your accommodation in the prison very closer. You're shortening it to go to prison as quickly as possible, which is why a disclaimer here is that you should not drive if you have already been disqualified. You shouldn't drive your vehicle. You should not. That doesn't mean that you cannot contest the allegation of driving while disqualified. Tax solicitors will sort that out for you. Back to this conversation. Driving while unfit to drive. While unfit to drive through drink. Now, again, as I explained to you, there are also drive while unfit through drugs. That is not conversation for today. That will be another day. But driving through drink, and drink being the most popular one, and drugs also being another popular one, which is currently increasing in demand by people, motorists, drivers, who are all consuming drugs in order to drive, or makes them much more better if they drive. But that's another topic I'm going to dive into in a subsequent conversation. But that doesn't mean that if you're facing through that, anything driving offenses which you want to contest, tax solicitors are here to assist you contest thoroughly, robustly against the police. I'll give you one another issues about driving through drink because your first point of contact is the police. Some of you have very unpleasant interaction with the police. And I do not blame you because you could be highly intimidated once the police accustom you on the roadside or stop you and comes to you. Remember that the body-worn video on their shoulder is always activated when they stop you. So you should guide yourself on what you say. That is the next conversation here. Guide yourself from what you say. You save your driving license by even 30% based on your utterances once the police pull you over. Try to guide yourself. It is very intimidating to talk to the police, especially when there are two of them and you're alone in the car or you're two in the car, but the police have pulled you over with their light and you feel a little bit more dejected. A lot of you deject when you see the police pull you over. Guide what you say because the body-worn video is activated once they approach you. And those things you say will always play against you. Whether you're saying it to be friendly with a police officer or you're friendly with a police officer or you try to explain things thinking they will let you go, you are dead wrong. Do not think the police are just being friendly with you when they talk to you. They are trained to be friendly with you to elicit admissions from you. What did I say? To elicit admissions from you. And the moment you admit offenses, once you're asked, recorded on the body-worn video of the police officer, it'll be very difficult for you now to retract that comment once the case has now progressed to criminal proceedings or criminal investigation. So it is very crucial that you make sure that you guide your tongue the moment the police pull you over once you are driving either on the roadside or you are seated in a car that is still engine on and very warm. You be careful on how you interact with the police. This is the point of conversation here, because all that you say recorded will be used in the event of your matter proceeding further. And then obviously you give us another task, your solicitor another task to deal with those comments based on the procedures and whether they should be admitted or they should be extracted out of the evidence. But we'll do all that for you. But this conversation is for you to guide yourself once the police pull you over. If you know any one of your words, your friends, your co-colleague, your worker, whoever, your employee, your employer, who is going through traffic issues and they all abound. Now the sun is out, everybody's outside. And I could tell you, this is the highest risk period. And even before the highest risk period, even during the winter, the spring, the autumn, and you find yourself in these circumstances, please rush to Tice Murdoch Solicitors to save your driving license if you want to be saved. If you want to give it away, then you don't need us. But if you really want to keep it, then you have us to keep it for you. But we will grind it. We will expose the police in respect to all unprocedural acts which they commit in order to progress their claim against you, all the allegations against you. We will expose all that. And through a normal process, court proceedings, request these disclosures, challenge these disclosures, puncture their allegations against you. At the end of the day, the case falls flat. I have a high record of cross-examination of police officers in court. And because I understand their mode of operandums, the way they operate when they stop motorists, when they accustom drivers, I understand it very well firsthand. When I cross-examine them and when I deal with matters with police, request documentations, I push them to the wall to the extent they have to give in. And most of the cases at court either fall off or the CPS, which is the Crime Prosecution Service, prosecuting that driving offenses, will either offer no evidence or choose or seek to discontinue the allegations. Now, let's go to the cost of these matters. Matters of driving whilst unfit to drive, to drink, these matters are matters you have to pay privately. And if you want to get your license and keep it as it is, because it is not offered under legal aid. But as you know, Tice Murdoch offers you legal aid from police station to the crime court. At the police station stage, there is a free of charge for you there. But once it progresses to the criminal proceedings, now in the magistrate court, of course, the means testing will take you away from it. We'll run it privately for you. And the process of the court proceedings is that once we succeed in that case, you get your cost back from the court, from the Crime Prosecution Service, which is the central fund. You get reimbursed back any fee you pay to your solicitors to challenge the allegation brought against you by the police. And the chances of doing that is almost 100%. Once we go through your case, advise you on the strength, look through the evidence, the document the police has provided, are relying upon to prosecute you. We will see the potholes. We'll see the pit holes there, and we will flag it up, and we will expand on it, and that will be the cherry on the cake to get this case out of the table. This is the period that you need. Now, unfit to drive, to drink has so many defenses. The defenses there sometimes may not apply to you. They may not apply to you. But if they apply to you, we will expand on them. Some of these defenses are strict liabilities that they're almost non-existent in certain people's circumstances. It's non-existence because it's strict liability offenses. Some don't have that evidence, they don't have that defenses applicable to them. But guess what? It is not only in the defenses. We also challenge procedural, as I said. as a matter of fact, procedures are majority of areas where the police fail. But even when they think they have followed the rules procedurally, we can see clearly there are a lot of lacunas and a lot of vacuum in their procedural pursuit. We will latch onto that, expand on it legally, arguing it strongly, and remember, they bring the case, they have to prove it, and what threshold beyond reasonable doubt. Sometimes they cannot get it to the beyond reasonable doubt threshold, and we will lag them there and free you and keep your driving license. That is the purpose of this conversation today. You make no mistake about that. You have no doubt about what the tax product solicitors are there for you. We are there for you. We will push you to get the best result for you as long as you give your instructions. Without your instructions, we cannot assist you. Your instructions have to be cohesive, coherent, consistent, and you're sure of your instructions to us, then you leave the rest to us. We will sort you out. Drink driving or driving unfit as a result of drink, this is where we will save your driving license. If you are already undergoing prosecutions or proceedings in the magistrate court, or even in the crown court, some of you have taken your case to the crown court, and you don't have to be tried to the jury. But again, these matters are summary only matters, which is only dealt with in the magistrate court. So it doesn't go to the crown court unless there are serious driving matters that are now within either way, which is either the magistrate court or in the crown court. In that case, we will now advise you whether we are taking it to the crown court or leaving it at the magistrate court. But for these simple matters, when you call simple, they eating into your well-being. And when your driving license is taken out, you already know the consequences. The inconvenience alone is worth much more thousands for you than just a couple of months you will be disqualified, or a couple of months you will not have your driving license anymore. And if you put that together in terms of your loss, financial loss, social loss, economic loss, your well-being loss, they are unquantifiable. But tax matter solicitors with a fraction would save your driving license and restore your joy back. We are joy givers because we do that through the legal means. As long as you instruct us, we will be there. We will be there to sort you out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure discussing this with you. This is just a tip of what we would do for you once you are ready for us to crack that nut open for you. And here we are. I remain your host, Justice Madford of Tax Matter Solicitors, here to serve you.